Well. Hello, everyone, and happy holidays. I thought that I would start this one just a few minutes early, get myself warmed up before the 7 o'clock hour. Michael Burden, what's going on? Thank you for stopping through. I always appreciate the support. Go Blue. As you all can see, I'm still in, well, I don't think I streamed from here on this channel recently, but I am in North Central New York State, the Albany area. I've been trying to get out to Buffalo, my hometown, but you guys have been watching the news, so you guys know um, what's happening out there in the Midwest. I think Michigan. I think the Detroit area has been okay, but the Buffalo area has gotten pummeled by Mother Nature. So um, hey guys, please hit that like button. The likes are free and they help with the engagement. And my channel could always use more engagement. Thank you to everyone who supported the last two videos. The last one, no, the second to last one regarding does Michigan have a culture problem? Everyone, that was a bit of a rhetorical question. They were asking that on Twitter when Cade transferred and Eric All transferred and when Alan Bowman transferred. There are a lot of knuckleheads on Twitter. Well, there are a lot of knuckleheads on YouTube as well. But it was just a rhetorical question. It wasn't me saying, it wasn't me thinking that we have a culture problem at Schembecker Hall. So you just you just never know how people are going to take things in these social media spaces. So a lot of folks were a little fired up over that. The last one was I just clipped my stream, my post Big Ten championship game stream, and Abdul Gaines. Shout out to Abdul Gaines. He that little piece right there, asking when Michigan would make the Big Ten championship game and asking when Coach Harbaugh would recruit one of his own quarterbacks. Yeah, Abdul Gaines actually did ask that. So I have to credit him for that little snippet. And so right now, hey guys, give me a second. I'm going to close down Facebook. Give me a second because I'm getting all these pop-ups from Facebook. Give me a second. That darn Facebook, you leave it open, and all of a sudden people want to start messaging you all at once, and people want to start reacting to things you posted all at once. Anyway, hey, let's jump in. So this is going to be a pre Michigan versus TCU discussion. I have an article, a short article I'm going to read discussing what TCU's coach wants to do against our team. And then I'm going to go over some of the statistics. And then if enough people are here, Michael, if you want to come up, if anyone wants to come up, I'll open it up. We're not going to talk about Ohio State today. They have their own channels. They can talk about Ohio State and Ryan Day, CJ Stroud, and how they're going to do against Stetson Bennett and those two large tight ends. No, actually, maybe I will take a look to see if the spread has changed for Ohio State. So let's see. But that's the plan. I'm going to read a short little piece, and then I'm going to go over the statistics, and then I'll wrap this up. So we are 4 days out from the national semifinal. The prediction is that it's going to be Michigan and Georgia in a rematch in the national championship game final. But hey, you never know. You never know when you line the two teams up, what can happen, and anything can happen when you line two teams up in postseason play. That's my opinion. Um, I was just listening to Sam Webb and Vance Bedford. Please hit that like button if you're just coming in. And apparently, TCU has two tall wide receivers, just like Michigan State did. So they'll definitely be looking to exploit that height advantage on the outside. And as they said, their quarterback Max Dugan, he's a real gamer. So um, in my mind, it's not a foregone conclusion that we will win this game. Okay, I'm gonna play Let's Go Blue, and then on the other side, we'll jump in. All right, I'm gonna put up the two helmets while the song plays, and I'll be back after the song. All right, everyone, welcome back to my channel. You guys know who I am. My name is Dr. Anwar Youssef Dunbar, and this is Big Discussions 76 Sports. First of all, please like this stream if you see fit. Shout out to Bo Lytle, as respect is earned. So first of all, please like, share, and subscribe. The super chat is live. If you want to donate something to the channel, you're under no pressure to do so. My Cash App and PayPal are here. And I'll talk about my newsletter at the end. Hey guys, yeah, so I'm at, well, hey, can I get one more sub, a few more subs? I'm at 1,159. So I'm knocking on the door at 1,160. So hey, if you're new here, definitely please hit that subscribe button. Everyone helps and they're free. All right. So what does TCU want to do to our Michigan offense? How does TCU? What's their game plan for defeating our maize and blue? I think this piece here. This is a short piece. Please bear with me. I think this really communicates what they are hoping to do to pull out the victory in the national semifinal, the first of two national semifinal games. Okay, this is entitled Michigan versus TCU. The Horned Frogs will do everything to stop the Wolverines' run game. There's Sam Webb right there. So this reads as follows. This is a short one, guys. So please bear with me. I hope Antoine comes through. Antoine asked me underneath my little snippet about when Michigan would make the playoff and when will Jim Harbaugh get one of his quarterbacks in there. Antoine said, "When are you gonna go live again? When you go live again?" So here we are, Antoine. I hope you come through. All right, let me change this because I like this view better. So here we go. Hey guys, let me know what you think there in the chat. Don't just go mum's the word. Let me know what you guys think there in the chat as I go through all of this. Okay, the TCU football team has arrived in Arizona ahead of the Fiesta Bowl, landing at Phoenix's Sky Harbor International Airport on Friday afternoon. I always thought that was a cool name for an airport, Sky Harbor. I go through there at least once a year because my best friend lives out in Phoenix. Okay. Following their flight, TCU coach Sonny Dykes and offensive lineman Wes Harris spoke briefly with reporters about their upcoming college football playoff matchup against Michigan. Here's what they said. about the Wolverines. TCU coach Sonny Dykes on Michigan's style of play. When you look at Michigan, obviously you've got the Big Ten champion, which typically Big Ten football is big, strong people. You get games typically won and lost up front. Michigan has got all that. They have also got really good skill players as well. The quarterback, J.J. McCarthy, is a really good player. Very impressed with him. They're going to try to run the football. It's going to be important for us to do everything we can to get the run game stopped. Defensively, same thing. Built up front, very powerful football team. Two outstanding defensive tackles, really good pass rushers off the edge. Linebackers are good, and a long, athletic secondary. So very good football team. Yeah, I'm really happy with the freshman kid coming on and making plays. Will Harris, I believe. Yeah, I think his recent play is really, really good for us. Okay, because there were numerous plays during the season where I'm going to go over the statistics, but where our team could have secured interceptions, but the ball just dropped through their hands. Our freshman, he catches. Yeah, that doesn't happen with him. He secures interceptions. Okay, please hit that like button if you're just coming in. The likes are free. Let me know what you guys think in the chat as I'm going over this. Okay, a little bit of contrasting styles. We're a little bit more of a team that relies on speed. But I think the one thing that has made our team special is we're a fast team, and we're also a very physical team. Our goal is to always try to dominate the line of scrimmage and win the line of scrimmage. It will be a big challenge for us on Saturday, but we look forward to the challenge. I think it's going to be really critical for us to be able to control the line of scrimmage on both sides of the football. It will be a challenge, but again, our guys are looking forward to it, excited about it. I think, as I said, our team is kind of known for its speed, but I really do think that this team is a physical, tough-minded football team, and we've had a lot of success this year. Okay. Give me a second here, everyone. Let's see. Our freshman phenom defensive back. Something said, Anwar, you misspoke. It's not Will Harris, it's Will Johnson. Will Johnson. Okay. I'm a stickler for details. All right. TCU coach Sonny Dykes on the Michigan defense. Yeah, as I said earlier, two outstanding defensive tackles, guys who look good up front, do a nice job of playing with their hands, really do a good job. Big, strong guys are staying in gaps, are really a gap style defense. The thing I like about their defense is the guys really play well together. They do their job consistently. They're in the right place at the right time. They play with good technique, got a good scheme. They're they're a very sound defensive football team. They don't give up a ton of big plays. They try to make you earn everything you get. For us, it always starts with our ability to be able to run the football. It's going to be important for us to do that. Got a lot of confidence in the offensive linemen, guys like Wes Harris here, to be able to play up front and open the holes. If we do that, typically our passing game has a chance to get the ball down the field and get it to some guys who can make plays. As I said earlier, we're a fast football team. Our guys enjoy taking shots down the field, and we're going to have to make a lot of one-on-one contested catches in this game. That's what big football games usually come down to, is which team can win the one-on-one battles and make the defensive catches and defensive plays. So remember, Lance Bedford just pointed that out, that they have two tall wide receivers. So we should expect to see a lot of jump balls thrown up in the air from Max Dugan. Okay. The TCU offensive lineman Wes Harris on Michigan. You turn on the tape, and I don't think they have one weak spot out there on their defense. So it will be fun. I know we're excited to get out there and kind of show them what we can do, but it's also big for TCU. I don't think we've been on the map or a scale this big in quite a long time. So we're excited to get out there and show what we can do and show what we can do against an opponent like this. Kind of like I said, they are a really good football team. I don't think they have any weak links on the defensive side of the ball. So we're excited to go up against them. I think there's a lot of spin there. I don't think they want to give our team any chalkboard material. So I think there was a lot of that there, but they were very complimentary about our team, which is good. Hopefully, uh, Coach Harbaugh, Jerome Moore, Matt Weiss, and Jesse Minter and those guys, hopefully that they've got the team game ready and the guys aren't feeling overconfident coming off of those wins against Ohio State and Purdue. Right now, I'm going to take a look at the prediction one more time before I jump into the statistics. So once again, as of now, Michigan is picked to win this game by a touchdown. Okay. And in terms of the point total, it looks like they're predicting 58 and a half points. So they're expecting both teams to put points on the board. Michael Burden says, yeah, so 8 points. I'm a scientist. Let me run that up. Michigan is picked to win the game by 8 points. Okay. So that's what TCU's head coach was saying about our team. This is the prediction. Let's walk through some of the statistics. And then, Michael, if you want to come up, I'll drop the links. You can come up and let us know what you think. Otherwise, I'll shut this down and get ready for Saturday at 4 o'clock. Okay, so let's let's take a look at our Maize and Blues statistics first. And I'm going to go over these at a high level. If I see something that's worth examining more, I'll get into the weeds a little bit, but I just want to run through these at a high level. So, okay, so these are our players. So JJ McCarthy, you guys know he was our starting quarterback since the Hawaii game. He didn't look back after snatching the position from Cade. JJ McCarthy generated a total of 2,376 passing yards. Blake Corum got hurt in the Illinois game. Up until that point, he was our workhorse and our bell cow. So he accounted for the majority of our rushing yards this year, and arguably up to that point, the majority of the offense. So before he hurt his knee, Blake generated 1,463 yards on the ground. As we know, Donovan came back and has filled in for him in a very, very good way. So our running game is still alive with Donovan Edwards, Khalil Mullings, and Isaiah Gant. I believe that's his name. Okay. Ronnie Bell led all of our wide receivers with 754 yards through the air in terms of receiving. Junior Colson has led our defense with 95 tackles, and Rod Moore leads our defense in interceptions. Okay, so I'm not going to go over all these passing yards. I'm sorry, all these passing statistics here. JJ completed 188 of 288 attempts. Okay, I already read over his yardage. He's got a 65.3 completion percentage. He threw for 20 touchdowns. He threw 3 picks. He was sacked 9 times, and he has a rating of a passer rating of 155.4. Yeah, so he went 188 for 288. Okay, again, up until he got hurt, Blake Corum led our rushing attack. And after he went down, Donovan stepped up admirably. Most notably, those 2 long runs to put the game away against Ohio State. Isaiah Gash, not Isaiah Gant. Okay. So JJ, as you can see here, also we have CJ Stokes, uh, Khalil Mullings. Yeah, he's down there. JJ gets in the act sometimes once he puts the Jets on. He's a threat for a first down. So now we're kind of doing this a little bit more by committee after Blake went out. In terms of receiving, after Ronnie's 754 receiving yards, Cornelius Johnson is next with 469, followed by Luke Schoonmaker with 386. And he's followed by Roman Wilson with 272. And Colston Loveland came on late with 199 yards. So even though Ronnie leads the team in receiving yards, Cornelius Johnson leads the team in receiving touchdowns with 6. And two of those were huge in the Ohio State game. Those were our first 2 touchdown scores in that game. Let's see. Jake Moody, not going to go over his stats. He was clutch for most of the year. In terms of our defense, Mike Morris led our team in sacks. Junior Colson, once again, led our team in total tackles. And I believe it was Rod Moore led our team in interceptions. Yeah, with 3. And our defense left a lot of interceptions on the table. There were a lot of instances, a lot of opportunities for them to secure the ball for the offense, but a lot of those just went through their fingers, just dropped through their hands. So that this total for our defense could have been much more. Okay, I'm not going to go over all of this. Okay, let's take a look at TCU. Let's take a look at TCU's players. If you're just coming in, please hit that like button. All right. TCU starting quarterback is Max Duggan. He threw for 3,321 yards. Their leading rusher was Kendre Miller. He ran for 1,342 yards. One of their tall wide receivers that Vance Bedford talked about is Quentin Johnson. He generated 903 receiving yards. Their leading tackler was Johnny Hodges with 76 tackles. And Bud Clark led the Horned Frogs with 4 interceptions. So Max Duggan went 20. I'm sorry, he completed 239 balls for 368 attempts. He threw for a total of 3,321 yards. He threw for 30 touchdowns. He threw 4 picks, and he has a passer rating of 165.5. Again, that is compared to JJ's 155.4 rating. Okay. Kendre Miller was their leading rusher. Their next leading rusher was this Amari DeMercado. Kendre Miller scored 17 touchdowns for TCU. Okay, so Quentin Johnson was their leading receiver. Their next most productive receiver was Tay Barber with 593 yards. Quentin Johnson scored 5 touchdowns. Tay Barber scored 4 touchdowns. Darius Davis was next in terms of yardage with 418 yards. He scored 5 touchdowns. Xavion Williams was next with 392 yards, and he scored 4 touchdowns. So Max Duggan seems to have spread the ball around. So all these guys are threats in terms of their passing attack. Let's see. Let's skip over that. Their sack leader was D. Winters with 7.5. Once again, their leading tackler was Johnny Hodges. And their leader in interceptions was Bud Clark. So I'm going to go over to the team statistics now, because I think that's a different way of looking at the data here. Oh boy. Oh boy. Look who's here. He's here. Well, Abdul Gaines, since you're here, you know what's coming. You know, you have to play your ceremonial, one of your ceremonial Nick Saban greetings. So here we go.
All right, and I'm going to continue to live that way and try to do what's right. And, you know, that's who Nick Saban is. All right, so regardless of what anybody says, that's who Nick Saban is.
Everyone, we have a culture here, just like on the Jim Rome show. So Abdul Gaines has such respect for Nick Saban that every time Abdul Gaines shows up in the chat, I have to grace him. I have to grace him with the Nick Saban drop. So that's why we do that. Okay. Abdul, make sure you hit that like button. Okay, so let's look at the team statistics here. Okay. There are a couple of interesting trends, in my opinion, here. Let's see. I'm pulling these from the Big Ten website. Okay, so in terms of total points or point totals, please hit that like button if you haven't. Okay, Abdul Gaines says, well, number one, he says, okay, so he's repping the Buckeye Nation now, so he's showing up with buck nuts there in the chat. Abdul says, let's go Horned Frogs. The DFW is rooting for you. Okay, so Abdul lives in Dallas-Fort Worth now. So I guess arguably, geographically, he has an allegiance to TCU now, though his allegiance has changed. So Abdul Gaines says, Nick Saban is a head coach who is not taking part in this year's CFP. That's who Nick Saban is. You know, Abdul Gaines, just for that, you're going to get one more.
Well, the number one thing for me, Nick Saban, all right, whatever anybody thinks, is to be a good person. Honesty, integrity, loyalty, being fair and honest with people, all right, has always been the trademark of what I've done.
Abdul, we've got some trash talk here. Michael Burden says, how's that haterade taste, Abdul? Michael says, LOL. Yeah, Abdul, how does that haterade taste? All right. Michigan's team statistics. All right. So Michigan scored 521 points this season. Our opponents scored 174. I think that is a function of Jesse Minter's ability to make halftime adjustments. Shout out to Johnny Olding. You guess nothing. That was the mantra, at least on Johnny's channel, for our defense in the second half. You guess nothing. So Jesse Minter was able to make some really good adjustments. He was able to use the talent that he had, to lock down most teams in the second half. Hopefully, he comes back next year. But also, our schedule was front loaded with some cupcakes. So, Colorado State, Hawaii, and UConn. So, but those are the point totals. We generated 521 total points, and our opponents generated 174. If JJ had connected on more of those deep balls, that number could be higher. So we averaged 40 points per game. Our opponents averaged 13 points per game. Okay, first downs. Michigan generated 301 first downs this season. Our opponents generated 197. So we generated a third more first downs than our opponents. The majority of those came on the ground with 170, and the others were generated through the air with 117. Penalties per game, well, total penalties, or are these offensive penalties? Well, this says 14 and 14. In terms of rushing yards, Michigan generated 3,159 rushing yards. Our opponents generated 1,108. Okay. Michigan scored 38 rushing touchdowns. Our opponents scored 7. And Michigan averaged 243 rushing yards per game. Our opponents averaged 85 rushing yards per game. In terms of passing, Michigan generated 2,736 passing yards per game. Our opponents generated 2,494 passing yards per game. So this is the ratio of attempts to completions to interceptions. So it was 30. There were 335 attempts, 217 completions, and 4 interceptions. Okay. Michigan generated 22 passing touchdowns this year. Our opponents generated 9. Michigan averaged 210 passing yards per game, and our opponents averaged 191. Okay, in terms of return yardage, that was about even for us and our opponents. Michigan lost 3 fumbles. There were 12 fumbles. Michigan lost 3. Our opponents, we generated 11 fumbles, and our opponents lost 3 of those. Michigan had 53 penalties for 420 yards. The time of possession. I think this one is huge. Michigan held the ball throughout the season for 440 minutes and 41 seconds. Our opponents held the ball for 339 minutes and 19 seconds. I think that stat right there, based upon the way we play the game, I think that's going to factor in pretty huge on Saturday. Our style of play, our run-oriented, physical style of play. So I think that's going to factor into the game on Saturday. Michigan scored 63 total touchdowns. Our opponents scored 18. I'm going to go back to the run statistics again, and then I'm going to move over to TCU. Okay, so Michigan, okay, so here, I think this is going to factor into the game on Saturday as well, unless TCU has some real surprises for us. This rushing yardage total. Okay, so Michigan generated 3,159 yards on the ground. Our opponents generated 1,108. Okay. So it'll be interesting to see if we retain that ratio and if the totals are lopsided like that when we match up against TCU, because from what I'm hearing, and as the stats will bear out, TCU runs the ball too. So that's a part of their offense. So if we can shut that down, we probably have a good chance of slowing down their offense in total. So let's take a look. Let's take a look at the TCU statistics. Michael, I'm almost done. I'll throw the link in the chat. Looks like you and Abdul Gaines are jousting there. Let's see what's being said. Abdul says, Michael, it is going to taste better when Ohio State hoists the CFP national title trophy. You know what, Abdul? I'll do you a favor. I'll take a look one more time at the prediction for Ohio State versus Georgia. 2 weeks ago, the prediction was that it would be a close score. I think they only picked Georgia to win by 10 points. But let's see if they're still holding to that. Michael Burden says, stay off the weed. I don't know if Abdul Gaines smokes weed. Michael says, oh, we're not talking OSU. Go to your channel. Michael says, Abdul, you are welcome to help us eat some horned frog legs. Yum. They taste like chicken. Okay. So does alligator. All right, let's take a look at the TCU team statistics. And then that's pretty much all I've got. All right, the 2022 TCU cumulative statistics. So, Michael, you're saying that, wow, so Ohio State, Georgia's picked to beat Ohio State by 7 points. Okay, so that means they're predicting a close game. Interesting. Yo, what are the chances of a rematch in the national final game? How about that? Abdul Gaines would really, really show out if there was a rematch between our two teams. Okay. So TCU. Okay, move this up. Okay. Points per game. So TCU scored 40 points per game. Their opponents scored 25. Compare that to Michigan. We scored 40 points a game. So we're dead even there. They scored 40 points a game. We scored 40 points a game. But they allowed 8 more points than we did. Okay. TCU scored 524 total points. Their opponents scored 325 total points. So our point totals are pretty much even. They scored 524. We scored 521. I think the difference is, or a difference that may show up in the game, is that they allowed 325 points. So that suggests we'll be able to move the ball on them and score on them. Please consider hitting that like button if you haven't, and also subscribing if you haven't, if you're new. Okay. Give me a second here, everyone. I'm not even looking at myself. I can't even see the likes. Okay. So please consider hitting that like button if you haven't. I don't know why it's so hard to hit the like button on YouTube. Unless the person is actually absolutely killing it. What's so hard about hitting the like button? Anyway. First downs. TCU generated a total of 289 first downs this year. Their opponents generated 261. Okay, so they're pretty much even. Okay, so Michigan generated 301 total first downs. Okay. Rushing yards. Let's see. And so in terms of their first downs, they're a little bit the opposite of us. The majority of their first downs came through the air. I think the majority of ours came on the ground. Rushing yards. TCU generated 2,932 rushing yards. They gave up 2,243 rushing yards. Okay. So again, we didn't, for us, it was lopsided. So this is telling me if we can slow down their passing game, I'm sorry, if we can slow down their rushing game, we can really slow down their offense. And also, we'll be able to move the ball on them on the ground, which is one of our strengths. They generated 33 rushing touchdowns. They gave up 21 rushing touchdowns. Let's see. Michigan generated 38 rushing touchdowns and gave up just 7 rushing touchdowns. Okay. In terms of TCU's air attack, they generated 3,549 passing yards, but they gave up 3,063 passing yards. So those numbers are still pretty much on par with one another. So this tells me that JJ will be able to connect with his receivers against this defense. Yeah, against this defense. And if I think the strength of their offense is going to be their passing game, Max Duggan and their wide receivers. Okay. Total offense in terms of total yardage, TCU generated 6,149 yards. Their defense gave up 5,006 yards. So in terms of total yardage, Michigan. Yeah, I don't think the Big Ten calculated the total. So Michigan generated basically 3,159 rushing yards and 2,736 passing yards. So I think we outgained them in terms of total yards. I think we generated about 6,000. Okay. And we only gave up half of what we generated. Okay, almost done here. I'm not going to go over all of this. Let's go to time of possession. And I think this is going to be huge. So once again, TCU held the ball. Their average per game. They didn't give us. Well, yeah, they did give us the total here. So for the season, TCU held the ball for 6 hours, 46 minutes and 21 seconds. Their opponents held the ball for 6 hours, 13 minutes, and 39 seconds. So I think if we can impose our style of play on them, I think we'll go ahead and we'll win the game. But if it turns into a shootout, then yeah, we could be looking at something different. Okay. TCU, I'm going to read this. Their third down conversions, they went 70 for 174. And they were pretty good on their fourth down conversions. They went 14 for 25. Okay. But their opponents were about the same as well. So I think if we can slow them down, if we can play our game and slow them down and run the ball, I think we have a good chance of winning this game. Okay. Michael, I'm going to drop the link if you want to come up. Do you guys have opinions on this game? Do you guys have opinions on anything I've presented up to this point? Do you have thoughts on what I've presented up to this point? If you do, let me know. Let me know what you think there in the chat. Okay. Any thoughts on Saturday's game? Is this going to be a blowout? Do we win this one handily going away? Are our starters resting in the fourth quarter? or is this going to be a nail biter like the Illinois game? What do you guys think? Looking at the time of possession differential, I think that we win by 2 touchdowns. I'll say 2 touchdowns, and I'm usually pretty bearish here. PJ Graham, thanks for stopping through. PJ says Harbaugh and company has been saving a shit ton of playbook material. Besides, these boys are having the time of their lives. You can't bring a better recipe. Okay. So you think that there are some tricks that they've yet to show. Okay. That would be cool. All right. Our one of our maize and blue enthusiasts is here.
Hey, what's going on?
Nothing much, self.
I'm doing okay, man. Just taking it one day at a time. You know, we can't wait for this game, man. I like the way you broke the stats, and that's pretty much how I see it too. I think we should be able to take care of business, but it's kind of like Van said, man. We're grinding them in the hamburger meat, man, and force their 2 big wide receivers on the outside, force them in, keep everything in front of us. They've been saying keep it between the 20s. I say keep it between the 30s. Then that way they're kicking long field goals, ain't scoring touchdowns. And while we grinding them in the hamburger meat, man, Max and the boys can't hurt us if they sitting over there on the bench drinking Gatorade. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I think from what I'm hearing, if there's anything that scares me, it's their quarterback, because he sounds like he's a real gunslinger, and he can make plays.
He is the real deal. He's finished second in the Heisman Trophy. So but come to find out, they were going to keep him on the bench and go with the phenom, and I guess he got hurt in fall camp, and then they went with him, and he had a great season. But I was kind of looking at TCU's season. A lot of the Big 12 was waiting on them to lose because they thought Baylor and Texas were going to do something. And here it is, TCU. They just kept on winning. I mean, they're a good team. They definitely deserve to be in the playoff. But man, we got to make sure that our defense let them know that the lights is too bright for them, and that they ain't gonna pass on us. They ain't running on us. They're gonna do a lot of 3 and outs. And Max Duggan gonna be eating a lot of turf.
Yeah, I saw some pictures on Twitter. It looks like Mike Morris is back.
Yes.
So it'll be good to have him as that extra pass rusher, because it looks like he led our team in sacks this season. And I'm happy with the Will Johnson kid.
Me too.
He's come on. He doesn't drop interceptions. He forces interceptions, and he covers. So I think that's going to be an advantage for us as well.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that G.J. Turner is learning a little something from that freshman too, and not getting into track meets like Vance was saying. Keep him in front of him. He's going to have safety help, so he ain't got to do everything by himself and try to rely on his speed. And like I said, if he could just keep him in front of him and not feel like he got to be in the track meets, I think we're gonna be fine, because our safeties have been playing good. You already talked about how Ron Moore leads us in interceptions. So as soon as Max Duggan makes a mistake, we're gonna make him pay.
All right. Well, he's here. Alex, do you want to come up and join us? You want to come and as soon as Alex shows up, the viewership starts showing up. Look at that. Alex, the link is there. I'll drop it again. Alex, you can come and let us know how you're feeling about your game on Saturday.
Yeah. We say good luck beating Georgia in their home state.
Oh, that's right. It's a home game for them.
Yeah, they're only like 50 or so miles away from campus.
Yeah. PJ Graham says, I was hoping Big Mike would play. Dude is a monster. Yeah.
Hey, you got to pull a local commercial from Mike Morris. There's a Detroit lawyer named Mike Morris, but he spells it like Morse code. And you know, our Mike Morris spells his like the cat. And I don't want to give it away. The commercial is funny as heck.
Okay.
You got to pull it.
All right. My ratings are about to go way up because Alex is here.
Buckeye Alex in the house.
How's it going, guys?
I'm all right, buddy. How you doing?
Good, good. A lot better than the last time we talked, man. I think I was on my deathbed the last time we spoke. I thought I was dying.
Man, I was trying to send you some chicken soup, but you ain't dropped me the address.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good.
Good.
So, Alex, what do you see this weekend?
Man, tough to call. I think TCU is really explosive. I think both teams have a really good identity. I think playmaker wise, I think TCU has a really good, like a really good 6'4" receiver, I believe.
Tua.
Yeah. So, I think Michigan is playing a team that looks very similar to them in some respects. They have a really good playmaker, behind center. I think probably skill position wise, they might have a step on the outside, but I don't know. I think just due to the fact that Michigan's probably maybe a little bigger at the point of attack on the offensive defensive line, that probably will help them win on Friday. Is it Friday?
Saturday.
So that's kind of where I lean. I think it's probably a high scoring game. Probably in the upper 30s. So I think people are writing TCU off. A lot of people are, but I think they'll come to play. I don't know if they necessarily have enough up front. In that third and fourth quarter, I think Michigan probably takes over on the offensive line like they do in most games. But we'll see. I think it's going to be a good game. Probably take Michigan by 5. So like, I don't know, 30, 33, 37, somewhere around there.
So
Okay.
you say take the under and take TCU with the points, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, the stats show that TCU, at least during the season, whatever they generate, they give up as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, they do.
the time of possession was pretty comparable as well. So I want to give it to Steven, Alex, but before we do, what's up with you guys? What do you think about you guys?
How you doing, Steven?
What's going on? We ain't talked since the end of November.
Hold on. I want to get Alex's take on their game with Georgia.
I'm sorry.
Man, I don't know.
I think it's pretty generous that they're only picking Georgia by 10 points.
Yeah, I think that's a Vegas thing. I think
it's actually went down to 7.
Oh, I'm 7.
Really? Okay, so I think it's interesting because Ohio State hasn't really been. There have been a lot of positions that have been healthy at, and typically this time of year, like when you're in the last 3-4 weeks of the season, like if you can get through a whole season healthy, then like kudos to you. But most teams don't. I think they're really beat up, so the month gives them time off to really recoup. I think Ryan Day, from a play calling standpoint, hopefully learned some things from the game. There are a lot of mistakes that I think that he made, especially in the first half. Him and Kerry Combs. I'm sorry. Oh my gosh, drawing a blank.
Jim Knowles.
I think Jim Knowles made. I think the decisions he made were correct, but I also think he could have maybe dialed it back a little bit. He didn't have to necessarily go all out, especially when Michigan only had, I think, 30 rushing yards in the first half. So I didn't think you needed to dial it up as much as you did in the second half. But you live and you learn. So hopefully they learn from those mistakes. I think Georgia, They just wreak havoc on the defensive line. Like it's insane. They got some really, really good defensive linemen up and down on the outside and definitely on the inside. So I'm probably going to pick Georgia by 3. It's kind of where I land right now. So I think Ohio State has to play its best game that they played all year and not minimize the mistakes that they made in the Michigan game, and that at least gives them a shot. But I haven't seen them do that all year. So, and until I see that, I'm going to go with what I've seen, and I'll probably take Georgia by 3 or 4, if not more.
Man, if you guys keep Georgia below that in their home state, man, that'll definitely be impressive. But I kind of agree with you, Alex. You guys can lose the game, and there's no shame in losing the game because we lost to Georgia last year.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you can't get blown down.
Right. Yeah, I think that in this particular situation, they're facing a different type of beast, so you can't really be cute with your play calling. And I feel like Day definitely got really cute with his play calling towards the end of the year, especially in the Michigan game. He got really cute with his play calling, and I hated. After I went back and watched the game, I was kind of like, dude, what were you doing? Like, what were you thinking? It was too predictable. It was too predictable what they were doing. And they left I think 2 touchdowns on the board in the first half. So, in my opinion,
well, y'all left some touchdowns on the board in the second half too.
Yeah.
Hey, remember the sequence when that number 88 hit my dude out of bounds and got the 15-yard penalty?
Listen,
See, I was like 1st and 35.
Well, man, that was the game. That was it.
Right.
Because
you guys had dwindled that down to like 4th and 6.
Mm-hmm.
And come to find out, I got this from Barton. You guys had the fake punt on.
Yeah.
Y'all was going to run the fake punt, but the long snapper ended up getting a offsides infraction on him.
Yeah.
Then they said that y'all still had the fake punt going on. But the long snapper figured, well, since I got the penalty on me, the fake punt's off. So he ended up I don't know how he did it, but he got the ball to the punter, and the punter was like, damn, this is a hot potato. And
he didn't know
the ball.
Yeah, he didn't know what to do. He caught it unexpectedly and was like, oh crap, let me hurry up and get this off. So if you have I think because the punter he's a rugby style punter, I think he was able to do that. If you have any other type of punter like that punt gets blocked. Yeah,
that would have been a disaster. You're right. But I agree with you, Alex. That cost you guys the game because on the ensuing drive, that's when we scored. That's when we scored the touchdown pass to Loveland, and y'all was on the ropes.
Like I said, it's too many mistakes.
Yeah.
Too many mistakes, coaching wise. Too many mistakes. I mean, there are definitely some mistakes that they made on some of the zero blitzes, not being gap sound, but this is something that has been going on all year. They just undisciplined. They just haven't been very disciplined. And last time we spoke, I was like, I look at the team that has an identity that's a disciplined football team, and that typically wins the game, no matter how talented the other team is. So that's just how I see it. Trust me, I coach basketball, and listen, the team that's typically we went to a tournament a couple weeks ago, and there was a team out there that was not very talented, but man, they were disciplined. They did not make mistakes, and they beat the brakes off of every team in that tournament.
Wow!
Just from that, I mean, they were average basketball players, but they did not make mistakes. Same thing in football. An average team that doesn't make mistakes can beat you to death, right? So that's just kind of how I see it. So until I've seen that level of execution from Ohio State, I'm always going to land on that where, I feel like we haven't seen the best football that they can play, but until they show that they can execute at a high level, I mean, they're going to lose the big games. I'm going to pick them to lose the big games because they can't do that with other teams.
Okay. So you don't see your boy 44 showing out, trying to help you guys out a little bit?
No, he'll show out, but it's not, it's not a one man. It's not a one man show.
It's a team game. You're right.
Team game.
Hey guys, let's get Steven in here.
Yeah.
What's going on? Yeah, Alex, I'm glad you're feeling better, Alex. But
you,
I'm gonna have to push back on some stuff. TCU, very talented offensively. It's number 67 rush defense. Like, I not only is Donovan Edwards going to have a big game, I think Stokes is probably going to have a big game too, maybe 60 or 70 yards. They can't stop the run. Like Kansas State had Deuce Vaughn. And TCU needs to be glad that Michigan doesn't have Blake Corum because they probably put a 400 rushing yards on them easy. Their run defense is horrible. They have some wide receiver playmakers, but Will Johnson, this brother right here, man, he's gonna neutralize one of those wide receivers. One of them, not both of them, one. The other one,
and then DJ Turner's gonna get the other one because he's gonna learn how to keep the play in front of him.
I don't know about. I mean, Turner started off the season good. I don't know if I necessarily trust. I trust McCarry Page over the top of the other one, over Turner, because McCarry Page is playing a lot better. I don't trust Gemon Green. They can't have him in there. Same as still, I trust him in the slot on the nickel, on their slot receiver. But I just don't think that after the third quarter, TCU is gonna have enough. I love Duggan. I love this cat. He's good, but you can only get hit so much. And physically, he's shown that once because you want him to run. You don't want him to throw because when he throws, he's hitting those receivers. You want him to run because he's taking shots. And when he takes shots, he tends to throw poorly. He'll just throw interceptions. And so I want him doing that. Make sure you run because Mike Morris will be back. Brady McGregor, I think he'll have a big game. I just don't think TCU has enough for 4 quarters to go with Michigan's offensive line because they're going to lean on them boys. And the first 7 or 8 minute drive Michigan has, it's over for TCU. It's a wrap. When it happens, it's over. Yeah. Now, as far as the Peach Bowl, I hear you about O State, man. Georgia going to beat their brains. I'm sorry, man. I mean, they got Harrison Jr., and that's it. Like, O State has not shown a propensity to be able to stop people's best weapons. Couldn't do it for Penn State, couldn't do it for Michigan. Georgia has 2 tight ends that are going to light them boys up. And there's nothing they can do about it because your secondary is garbage. We saw it. If Cornelius Johnson whooped you, imagine what Bowers and Washington are going to do. They just don't have it, man. I'm like, hey, no disrespect. That white boy for Georgia, that brother Cole, man. I'm saying that dude is fast. And Washington like 6'8". Who's that? Is them the hip hop Dalmatians, man? They gonna tear O State up. If you say 3 or 4 points, it might be like 2 or 3 touchdowns, man. It's going because Knowles is not that guy. He came from the Big 12. He's not good. He's never gonna really be good. We tried to tell y'all this last year. And Ryan Day is just Jim Cooper 2.0.
Hold on. Wait a second. I can critique some of the things that Knowles did, right?
Mm-hmm.
In that game. When you take a defense that's in the 80s, right?
Mm-hmm.
The previous year, you basically bring all the same guys back.
Okay.
And then they end up being a top 15 defense. He's doing something correct.
I mean, they weren't really a top 15 defense.
Yeah,
well, let's be real.
They were.
No, they weren't, man.
The stats
no, they
matter.
weren't.
The stats matter, right?
They were number 6 before the Michigan game, correct? And they dropped to 15. So they dropped 9 spots. They weren't that good. They just looked good. They weren't that good.
That doesn't.
But go ahead.
That doesn't make a lot of sense, especially when, like, it's one thing if. So you're arguing against. I feel like you're kind of arguing against yourself. So
I'm really not.
So if they're if I say they're a top 15 defense, and you're saying they were top 6, you're arguing against yourself.
Not really. See, they dropped 9 spots. They just. You know why they were ranked so high? Is because when they were playing other teams that weren't really that good, they would score so much, so teams got out of their element and did some things to the Ohio State's advantage. When they played a real team like Michigan, you couldn't do that because they were exposed to the frauds that they are. But go ahead.
That's one game. Like, teams typically throughout a season really only play one tough game. Not
really. Not really. But go ahead though.
I'm saying, okay, in the Big Ten, you really only play one tough game a year, like one top tier team, right? You typically have Ohio State, Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State somewhere in there, and then everybody else just kind of falls somewhere in the middle to the lower tier. So like Michigan only had one tough game this year, and it was
Illinois. You're right, Illinois. You're right.
Illinois,
it was Illinois.
Penn State.
Illinois was a tougher game than O State. Period.
I think the Illinois game was. I think if you play Illinois 10 times, that's like the one off. That's like the one off, right? I think you blast Illinois the next 9 times you play them, but you always have like a one off game. Remember, every game you play is going to be different.
Yeah,
it's not going to be the same. But back to what I was saying, I understand some of the things that Jim Knowles did. A lot of the mistakes that Ohio State made in that game from a defensive perspective was gap sound and just technique, right? Like you zero blitz, all you gotta do is just tackle. That's it. You just gotta tackle. Like this is not like it's not a scheme issue. That's not the problem.
It's technique, huh?
It's technique. You listen, you tackle that dude, it's 4th and 1, they punt. You don't know what happens, but you miss a tackle you can't miss a tackle on a zero blitz. You know a zero blitz is coming. You have to make that tackle. That's not Jim Knowles. That's a technique issue.
We used to hate when Don Brown do us like that because when you ain't got nobody back there, it's you might as well strike up the band because it's 6.
You're correct, but see, Ryan Day knew Knowles.
Only at the ransom. Like why are your eyes in the backfield? Why are you watching the quarterback? You're watching you're supposed to be watching the receiver. Watch the receiver. He hit you with a double move because your eyes are in the backfield. Yep. Again, this is a technique issue. Yeah. This is not a scheme problem. It's a technique issue. Like they're 2 different things.
So you say that defense was better. Now, in your mind, you believe the defense was better. They were ranked higher. Were they better? I don't think so, but we agree to disagree. Yeah. So you know what? Old State lost that game the week before when they played Maryland. Maryland exposed them boys because they already couldn't cover a candy ball with a paper sack. But Maryland exposed them. Talia Tagovailoa exposed them boys. Penn State really exposed them because they got a whole bunch of freshmen. So I hear what you're saying. It sounds nice coming out your mouth. But if any Old State fan, any objective Old State fan will know all year, if you look at this team all year, they knew the defense wasn't. They looked better once again when you're scoring 50 points a game. And the other team is saying, you know what, let's just get in a race. They're going to do things differently. Michigan's like, nope, you're going to play our game. And when they played it, we saw Old State hasn't gotten any. You can say what you want. They haven't gotten any better. They're just more experienced. They haven't got. They beat them worse than they did last year. How have they gotten better when Michigan beat them by more points than they did last year? And Michigan lost some of the best players on their team. Like, explain that to me. Like I'm a 5-year-old.
Okay. The idea behind Jim Knowles' defense is you're going to give up big plays. Don't give up touchdowns. They gave up touchdowns. That's it.
Okay.
That's it. Listen, the defense is a bend, don't break. It's okay to give up 4 big plays a game, right? But you can't give up 4 big touchdowns a game. They're 2 different things.
I get your point because what you just said described what happened to y'all against Toledo versus what we did.
Well, looking at the rushing totals here, Ohio State generated 2,382 rushing yards. They only gave up 1,439 to their opponents.
Right.
And then if you look at their passing statistics, they generated 3,530 passing yards and gave up 2,208 to their opponents.
So my point is if you're gap sound, there's no 75-yard touchdown. If you make a tackle, there's no 60-yard touchdown. That's 14 points off of 2 plays. 2 mistakes that you made, that the players made. 2 mistakes, 14 points.
So that defense. So in your mind, I'm just hearing what you, because I don't remember them doing that as far as throwing plays. Like Michigan ran over all of them last year. This year they ran and threw them. Because Old State fans have this fantasy that 5 big plays beat them. No, Michigan beat them because the J.J. McCarthy run was a 4-yard run. That wasn't a big play. So it ain't big play. It's that Michigan's a better team. They're just more physical. In your mind, based on what you saw the whole year with Old State, because Northwestern ran all over, and they knew what Northwestern was going to do. Maryland did what they wanted to do. Penn State did what they wanted to do. If it weren't for JT Tuimoloau, they lose that Penn State game. Other teams, even Notre Dame. So based on one game, you're telling me, and the whole season, from what you saw last year to this year, Old State's defense in your mind was better than last year, and they got murdered by Michigan worse. And they had 5 close games this year. They didn't have that last year. So you're telling me, based on what you see objectively now, Old State's defense was better than last year because they were ranked high. You're saying that, and you want me to believe it.
What I'm saying, this is what I'm saying. What I'm saying in that game was lost because of poor technique and bad gap sound. That's what I'm saying.
That game was lost because Michigan was the better team.
Also, I believe that.
Okay.
Last year, do I think Ohio State is better this year? No. I think they're better. I think they're better on the offensive end, on the offensive side of the football last year than they were this year. Okay. I also think that they could have been better this year had our two starter running backs had been healthy and the best receiver in the country had played, right? You take those pieces off the board, you're playing a different game the whole season. So defensively, I think that because the defense is actually, if you watch Ohio State play, the defense actually won them 3 to 4 games this year. That wasn't happening last year at all. It was just like, man, you got to go forget field. We just got to score 50 every game, or else we're going to lose. This year, the defense actually stepped up and won them some games. So that's why I think the defense is better this year. The offense is not as good as it was last year. Those two things haven't come together at the same time. Like they haven't caught up to each other.
They're not gonna catch up with each other against Georgia either. You do know that, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. What's gonna happen? What's gonna happen on Saturday?
I honestly don't know. I mean, this is the first time they're going to be healthy since week 1, so I don't know. That's why I said I have no clue. I don't know. I think if Ryan Day is cute with his play calling like he was in the Michigan game, they probably lose by 30. They probably do.
Big, hey Big, what you think, man? What you think, Big?
Well, I'm not an expert on Ohio State. I do agree with Alex. Both the running backs were hurt. They didn't have Henderson. They didn't have I think Mayan
Williams. Yeah, he didn't play.
He
played.
Henderson sucks, man.
He played the first series.
Well, I know Henderson is hurt, and Brown only played for like maybe a couple of series. So did Blake Corum. Everybody's got to deal with injuries. That's
man, Henderson sucks, man. Henderson is trash. He's trash. Period.
Well, I'm not gonna go that far because
I won't
either. Man, Henderson will be the third string in Michigan. He will be third or fourth string in Michigan.
I will say this: looking back at it, if you had the choice between the two, we definitely chose the wrong running back to go after. I'll say that.
Yeah,
exactly.
I'm not going to say he's all out trash though.
I'm not either.
That's a bit extreme. But
we recruited him, so we recruited him. So
I will say like we had a choice of who we could have went out and got, and I feel like we probably should have went and got Edwards. Looking back at it.
Now I will say this in terms of what Alex said about the gap soundness. That was late in the game. That defense was probably had probably been leaned on for the entire game. I mean, our offensive line won that award again.
Yep.
So that's probably some of what happened as well.
Yep.
Yeah, probably.
Yep.
I think Ohio State played really. I think they played really tight in the second half. I do. They weren't. Listen, that team was never the same after they went to the bye week. That team wasn't. I don't know what happened, but like. They win the bye week, and it was like they came out, and it was a completely different team that I didn't even recognize. So, but like I said, I'm not a homer. Like, I call it like I see it. Like,
when was State's bye week, Alex?
Week 6 or 7.
You got to give me the games.
Week 6 or 7. I think it was
between what 2 games?
They had 6 straight home games, and then they played week 7, and then they were off, and then they had 5 games after
Was
that.
it right there when y'all before y'all played Sparty?
It was right there. After Sparty, I believe.
Yeah, after
Oh,
Sparty.
after Sparty.
It was
Okay.
after Sparty.
Okay.
Well, that's 2 bye weeks essentially.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, because y'all killed Sparty.
Yeah, but some was just off. But I don't know. We know we'll never know. But like I said, it's until I see them execute at a high level. You know, they're not going to win the big games. It doesn't matter what the point total is. They won't win the big games until they execute at a high level.
Well, I'm glad of one thing. We were both able to make it into the big dance. And I'm not going to root against Ohio State, against Georgia, because it's Big Ten all the way, like it always been in the bowl games. I'm just glad y'all was able to bring that $10 million check to the conference, because we looking good, brother.
Man, bump that, Michael. Forget that. I want my lick back. Michigan and Georgia. That's a forget. Alex. Hey, I don't know you. It's all love. I hope you get smashed. I want Georgia. I want to see Georgia. I'm sorry. I ain't like old boy. No, forget that. It's Michigan and nobody. I want Georgia. Period. And if you're watching this video later on, yes, I want Georgia. Yes. Yeah, like Craig said it Friday. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I like to bite on the Bulldogs behind. I get with that. I know what you're talking about, Steve.
I'm sorry. I live in Alabama, man. I'm tired of the SEC. I want my lick back. I want my lick back.
You gotta hear it all the time, brother.
At church, at work, listen, everywhere.
Hey, I'm in Florida, so I get it. Like I'm right near where they play the I don't call it a rivalry game, but the Georgia-Florida game. It's weird. It's just weird. But I'm with you. I'm with you. I mean, I'm in SEC country. Like you know, if you're in Alabama, like especially depending on where you're at in Alabama. Like if you're like Tuscaloosa, like or anywhere like north of Tuscaloosa,
that's ground zero.
Yeah, I'm saying like anywhere north of Tuscaloosa, like it gets worse the more south you go.
But yeah, I mean, I think TCU is a formidable. I'm not going to sleep on TCU. I just don't think physically they can withstand. Like the Big 12 is not a conference, and the Kansas State should have beat them twice. Let's just be real.
They really should. I saw both games. I agree with that.
So and people say the closest thing to Kansas State is Michigan. Like Michigan is Kansas State on steroids. Like I think they're going to beat TCU. I think TCU might get about 17, but anything after the second half, like y'all know how mentor is. Like Johnny Older said, you gets nothing.
Right
after the second half. They might be in trouble, man. If they don't, because Will Johnson, he's gonna do his thing, and Donovan, man, these boys want it from last year. That Georgia game left a bad taste in their mouth, and honestly, TCU just.
I'm going to pick up where Stephen was saying about TCU. There was a couple of close games they probably should have lost, because I was looking at that the SMU game, and SMU was a group of 5 team. Man, there was no way they were supposed to leave up by Dallas with that win. Man, I was like, wow, they should have got beat.
Yeah. But we'll see.
Okay, well,
hopefully Michigan don't crap the bed. I trust Jim. I trust Sonny Dykes.
I trust Harbaugh too, because he has a habit of having those boys take it one game at a time, one moment at a time, and they do not underestimate any opponent, not even Hawaii or Colorado State, and you know they was garbage.
Yeah, they're beyond
absolutely.
Yeah, I think Michigan wins. They should win by 2 touchdowns. I think after they possess the ball, after they lean on that defense,
grind them in the hamburger meat.
Yep.
And like Van said, keep them wide receivers in front of you and force them to the middle. Don't let them hug that outside line where they have an advantage. We can't get at that, or else they're going to play their game.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how they're gonna try to scheme against those guys, because Will Johnson's what, 6 foot?
6'2", 6'3", one of them.
Yeah.
No, I thought he was like 6 foot.
No, he's 6'2".
No, Will Johnson like 6'2", 6'3". He closer to 6'3", actually.
When did that happen?
It's still growing.
He came out of high school. He was 6'2" out of high school, bro.
No.
Will go Google it. Go to 24/7.
I'm gonna go back and check that out. I thought he was like 6 foot. Okay.
No.
I thought he was like 6 foot. Listen, I think I'm interested to see how TCU attacks and how Michigan defends. That's going to be. I didn't realize that both the receivers were 6'4". I knew they had one dude that was really good who was like 6'4". I know they had another one.
No, I said number 1 and number 18, both of them. And then they got this little scat back, number 11.
Yep.
He's taking 3 punt returns to the house.
No, he's a beast. He's a beast.
Yeah.
So we can't, we ain't putting him the ball.
No, he's a beast.
Not at all.
Well, you have, the way to get away from that is just score the football. So you don't
there
have to
you
punt.
go. And he can't hurt you.
Yeah, he can't hurt you if you're scoring. No, I think it's interesting because I wonder if it's like, do you press? Do you go press man? Like, do you press to the outside?
I think you do a couple variations, but the important thing is going to be keeping them guys in front of you and force them to the middle where your help is as much, because you're going to probably play a lot of cover 2, a lot of cover 3.
Yeah. I mean, if you're cover 2 press, then that's probably ideal, because especially if you're pressing and you're shading over to one side of the field, getting help over the top,
right?
That would make sense. But the problem is that if you try to do that and you get open on a slant, you get burned up the middle. That's the issue.
Well, that's what Steven was talking about. Samersill being that cat center field between him and between Rob Moore. We won't be right there to catch that ball, make that interception.
Yeah, but like you're not going to be able to, because the vicinity that you're the vicinity of where you're throwing the football, like only he's going to be able to grab it because he's 6'4". So that's where I find it interesting. Like if you throw it up high, he's going to be able to snag that down. And I'm not saying like he's taking it to the house. I'm saying like every slant is like 6 or 7 yards per catch. And that's where I say, like, I'm interested to see how Michigan's going to defend that, because that's really what Ohio State does with Marvin Harrison Jr., because he's 6'4". I mean, they run a lot of slants and a lot of comebacks, because it's when he's 6'4", it's hard to defend. Like, you can't really defend a receiver who's 6'4" on a comeback. It's very, very difficult to do.
Well, you still forget one element, though, Alex. Our defensive line and our linebackers, he ain't going to have that much time to get them the ball, because they coming to get him, and they have bad intentions.
Okay. I'm not saying that's not going to happen. All I'm saying is that like a comeback is really like a 3-step drop. So it's 1, 2, 3, and then the ball's out, right? So you're not even going to have an opportunity to get there. So they can come with bad intentions all they want. It's 3 steps, and then the ball's out.
I get it, because that's what Purdue was doing to us. But at the same time, what they always say about the forward pass, 3 things can happen, and 2 of them are bad. I like our chances.
That's fair. No, I'm going to watch that game. I'm curious to see I'm curious to see both sides how that works, because it's been a while since I've seen a team that has 2 6'4" receivers on them. Like,
don't get it twisted. After our game, we're gonna definitely be interested in your game, because I hope y'all be able to get with Bulldog a little bit. Let them know that they was in the game, because I think we always have to come through the SEC. It's about time they come through the Big Ten. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I'm with you. I mean, I think if we have the opportunity to win, and I don't think we will, this year is going to be the year. Maybe in 2 years we'll have another good shot at it. Probably not next year. Well, maybe next year. It depends on how quarterbacks develop. throughout the season. But
what about Knowles having his boys on the field? Because I can best believe he don't have the kind of players he want to play with.
No,
I mean, you guys got 5 stars and 4 stars on the yard, but are they going to be able to transition over the spring and summer to play defense to where they sound like Knowles want?
Well, I think part of it is you. So like there's been a couple of departures. We have players kind of shifting, just kind of trying to get in where they can fit in on the field. I think he really needs a full recruiting cycle. So like pretty much like 5 years.
But will Buckeye give him that long though?
Yeah, they'll give him that long.
Okay.
Just due to the fact that like I said, I mean, I know Steven was saying like we look a certain way, but it's not that way. But when you're in like the 80s and you go from the 80s to like, up into the last week of the season, you're a top 10 defense. Like, I think you know what you're doing, and I think that you got to give them time. Like, you changed the entire defense to a bend defense, and like I said, if you're gap sound, they defended the run very, very well all season long. I mean, outside of some outlier games, I mean, you're going to have outlier games. Like no game is perfect. So,
right.
I mean, listen, I mean, Michigan played Illinois, and Illinois can't throw the football better than me. And that was a close game, and it shouldn't have been, right? So I think if you play some of the other games, 9 more times, you probably destroy those teams. But the one game's always like you always have the games that are just outliers, and that's just the way sports is. But
that Illinois game, man, Blake Corum went down and he fumbled on the 13-yard line. We were gonna be up 14-3. We was on our way of putting that game away, and then he's out for the season. I mean,
that was
like
scary.
you said, stuff happens, man.
Yeah, that was tough. Listen, I love the fact that they got him in for that one play. I didn't even get a chance to speak on that, but I love the fact they got him in for like that one play in the game. That was pretty awesome, and got him out of there. I kind of felt like it was a very gamesmanship thing to do on both sides to make sure that he didn't get hurt, on the field.
I mean, you already know sometimes you got to win them tight ones, but that's why you got more than one player on the bench, man. Yeah. Our special teams is dope. So, Money Moody had to go in there and win that game for us. I mean, it is what it is, and we'll take it.
Yeah, well, that's kind of the point where JJ kind of had to assume more of a role in the offense. And he that play where he dropped the ball on the turf, I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And he didn't. He threw it to the running back instead of the Colston Loveland. That was where he had to get out there and get his hands a little bit dirty.
What about throwing the clutch ball to our boy what, Gush? Is it Gush? Gash. See, he's grown. It ain't like when he put the ball on the ground last year against Michigan State. That boy's getting better. And I like that kid's moxie.
Yeah, I like him too. I still don't think he's better than Cade, but I like him too.
Well, you're supposed to say that, but
I don't.
Look, he got us back. Don't. He got us back with a shot at the Natty, and we're TCU and Georgia game away from winning the Natty. You know what I'm saying?
Cade's already done that.
Alex, I just think he's more dangerous. He's more dangerous than Cade. I mean,
way more dangerous.
That's fine. That's fine. If you want to ride in the car without a seatbelt, knock yourself out. But like Cade's already gotten you there with the seatbelt on. That's my point. That's the only point I'm making. He's got you there safely with the seatbelt on.
But baby, it's lovely being able to ride in the vet with the T-tops up and the sun glistening. We got the wind in our hair and our sunglasses on. About to win this Natty. I like that too.
This is what I'm saying. If you guys win the Natty or not, it's not because Cade's.
Be careful, Alex.
Yeah, be careful.
Listen.
Because don't y'all play Iowa next year?
Yeah. Listen, JJ, unless JJ turns into Michael Vick, you're gonna need more than just like he's gonna have to literally turn into Michael Vick in order for you guys to win a national championship. That's all I'm saying.
You forgot we got Donovan Edwards, and you got the Dom in the backfield, baby.
That's fine.
And we got quality wide receivers he can get the ball to.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't go that far.
Okay.
They're solid. They're I guess quality is a good word. Like they're slightly above average.
Well, that's how they describe Stetson Bennett. He got him a natty. We might as well get this natty this year.
That's different
All
though, because that Georgia team, that's a whole nother beast. Like that's
Yeah,
a whole
right.
other animal.
You're right.
Alex,
Listen, me and you can be quarterback in that team, and we be in the natty. Like
Listen at you, man. That's why I love you, Alex.
that
Alex,
team is a monster.
Yeah.
question here. This dude really capping for Cade over JJ right now?
I look at it like this. You switch quarterbacks, and I didn't see the difference. That's all I'm saying. Like, it was the same offense, the same throws, the same result. Yes, it was. No throws over 10 yards. Yes, it was. Completion percentage was the same.
How many more rushing yards did JJ have?
You know what?
How many more rushing yards did JJ have?
What you say?
I said, how many more rushing yards did JJ have?
I don't know, but the result is the same.
Alex, so hold on. What about those plays, those Fran Tarkenton plays that JJ makes where he's running this way and he throws the ball accurately kind of across his body and makes the completion? I think the only way we could have made this comparison is if Cade did not have the running game last year. If he did not have Hassan, and Cade would have had to have won some of those games on his own.
Right.
Yeah, but
that's the only way to know.
Yeah, I'm just of the mindset. I understand what you guys are saying. And listen, it's sexy, it's great, it's nice, it's like new lingerie. That's fantastic.
Like a Ferrari, baby.
I wouldn't go that far. It's more like a very fast Mazda.
Mazda? Man, that's a wannabe Ford. Come on, man.
Listen, Mazda makes
got at least throw a Corvette in there. Some Lamborghini.
Mazda makes some very nice cars.
I bet you won't own one.
No, I don't.
I didn't think you would.
No, I look at it like K got you there. He got you to the dance.
He did. He did.
And I'm just gonna stand on this. I'm gonna die on this hill. There's no reason he should have lost his job. I'm gonna die on that hill forever. Like,
okay, well, you can die on that hill. I won't.
He did everything, and it was like it just wasn't good enough. And it's like, yeah, but you're gonna replace my job with this dude that's gonna do the exact same thing that I did.
Well, Alex,
man, you gotta look at that Colorado State game again. He was supposed to show out.
No, Colorado State's trash. I can run against Colorado State.
He didn't have more than 200 yards against Colorado State.
Listen, the three of us, Anwar could probably play on the offensive line. You could probably play linebacker, and I could probably play defensive back against Colorado State, and we can go out there and win.
Okay.
Well, Alex, here's the thing. If Michigan and Georgia advanced to the national title game, that's going to be a test as to why the change needed to be made, because it's to have that third and that fourth and that fifth gear against Georgia. Not just winning the Big Ten. We want to be in a position to beat Georgia or Alabama.
Yep.
So that's the point of it all.
And my
last year, I don't know what it was. I mean, it was their first time there, but the stage looked too big for Cade.
Yeah, it did.
I'll say this: the stage looked too big for the team.
I don't even agree with that.
The team.
I even agree with that.
And that's why I'm going to die on that hill. It's like you point the finger. Obviously, he's a quarterback, so you got to point the finger. Like it's either quarterback or coach. You point the finger at one of those two, right? That's fine.
Well, I think it was a total team loss.
Exactly. That's why I'm like, I get what you're saying. Like, and I also understand, like, if you move on from this kid, you still got JJ for another 2 years, and that's like a lease for Harbaugh to try to get another job before he out the side or the back door, because he's been trying to do that for years. But like, I understand the move. I just think it was just very. I just don't disagree with like a guy who does you come to Michigan and you do what hasn't been done in like 30 years and you lose your job for no reason whatsoever. Except the only reason you lost your job is for optic purposes only. That's how I look at it.
Well, I thought it started in the spring, and how in the spring game, he didn't hardly do anything in the spring game. In fact, the backups looked better than him in the spring game. And I think that's where it all started from.
Yeah, but yeah, that's fine. But listen, you go 12-0, or not 12-0. Yeah, you go 12-0.
13-0, baby.
You go, yeah. Listen, no, I'm saying you go 12-0. You beat Ohio State. You go play Georgia. Like, you have an opportunity to play for a national championship.
Yep.
There's no reason he should have lost his job. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
The team, the stage looked too big for the team, and that Georgia team was winning. I don't care who was on that field. Like, they were winning. Like, I don't care if the Browns were on that field.
Well, like, Alex, would you deny that JJ brings an extra dimension or two to the position? He can the run pass option. He can run and he can throw on the run.
Absolutely.
I mean, can you acknowledge that?
I'm not denying that. But what I'm also not denying is that JJ's ceiling is higher. Cade's floor is higher than JJ's floor. That's what I'm saying. So JJ, yes, he brings extra elements to the game. But what I'm also saying is Cade is not going to make the mistakes that JJ makes. That's what I'm saying. Like, he's not
now with a year of coaching under his belt, JJ's not even making the mistakes JJ made in 21.
Fair,
better quarterback, man.
Here's my counter argument. You didn't give Cade the opportunity to be better this year either, right? Because after 2 games you turned it over and it was basically like a tie. But my point is that it shouldn't even have been a tie. He shouldn't have been able to compete for the job because of the job he did the previous season. That's my argument. So you can say another year of coaching for JJ.
And Ohio State, we're not going to grant the kid a job. Everybody's job's up for bid in the spring and the summer. No, and if the kid don't secure his job, it is what it is.
That's fine.
Someone, I think Dre Ellerby mentioned Tua and Jalen Hurts, and didn't we see a similar thing at Clemson with Trevor?
No, Kelly Bryant was
Lawrence
terrible. It's not
Kelly Bryant. What?
Kelly Bryant was horrible. Kelly Bryant was a horrible quarterback surrounded by a ridiculously talented team, and they were getting by because the team was ridiculously talented, and Kelly Bryant was trash. Hence the reason why when he transferred, we never heard from him again, because he was terrible. That's different.
And then too, you're forgetting that part of the quarterback battle, Cade ended up getting hurt anyway. So it is what it is.
Yeah,
we'll see what he does at Iowa.
Yeah,
Can he be JJ Ritter at Iowa? We'll see.
That'd be nice. I mean, I think Eric All's with him too. So that
he is.
Listen, I said this. Iowa's defense is probably next to Georgia the best defense I've seen this year.
Yep.
If they can have an inkling of offense, the Big Ten is in trouble.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm just saying, period. So, like, who's the defensive coordinator at Iowa? Is it Kirk Ferentz?
No, I forget who it is. But we were in Iowa City for that game, and we pretty much said the same thing. If Iowa had one iota offense, Michigan would have more of a game. But once we went up 21 points, we knew the game was over.
Yeah, but you went up 21 points in like 3 minutes. It was a game in the third quarter. In the middle of the third quarter, it was a game. And
that's when we went up 21 points.
Yeah, Iowa just doesn't have an offense. They can't score the ball.
They didn't. It was awful.
Yeah, it was awful.
The fact that they had one iota offense against y'all, y'all would have been more of a dogfight against them.
Yeah, they couldn't score. Listen, their defense is incredible. If they can, I don't care. Listen, if I was them, I probably would have went after the kid and
In
the
fact,
kid from Texas.
didn't that kid have a pick six against you guys, and then set up another one for the other touchdown?
Yeah, it was. Listen, it was bad. Their defense is ridiculous.
Guys, Antoine showed up. I'm gonna let this go for about 10 more minutes.
Okay.
Alex, people love when you start talking about Cade, man.
Hey, Antoine, what's up, brother?
Listen, I just listen. I might be in the minority. That's okay. Nothing wrong with that. I can take it. But
I already know you're willing to die on the hill, so it's all good.
Hey, listen, I just look at it like, man, like this until this dude looks at it like we just can't put you on the field because you're that bad. Don't take him off the field. That's just me.
Okay.
No, Alex,
you're entitled to your opinion.
So, yeah, Alex, let's do a little history here. I mean, isn't it true that Urban Meyer was recruiting JJ?
Yeah, until Ryan Day stepped in and was like, no, we need this other kid because this other kid is a better thrower of the football. JJ is a better playmaker, but this other kid's he's a better prospect to be an NFL quarterback than JJ is. Which, we won't know because the guy hasn't seen the field yet. So when he gets on the field, if he gets on the field, we'll see.
Okay. All right. Do you guys have anything else?
No. I got a chance to say my piece. It's just nice to hear from Alex. I'm glad
hold on, Steven. Let's pause for a second. I'll call that out. The JT Barrett thing was nonsense. He should have been starting. He broke his leg against Michigan. They were going to win that game. Yes, Cardell won a national championship as a third-string quarterback, but JT should have been the guy. End of story. I'm very, very clear on this. Just like I'm not saying it just because it's Michigan. JT should have been starting. Period. It shouldn't have been this back and forth nonsense after they won a national championship in 2015.
Okay. CJ Mike says they could have had JJ. Urban would have took JJ over McCord. They went the other way. It is what it is.
Yeah. Listen, I think, we'll time will tell. Time will tell. I think they're both good, and I think they're both good. I think they're both very different quarterbacks, though. So I think JJ is more of the Caleb Williams type, where he's athletic and can throw the football. He might not necessarily have the best accuracy, but can make throws, while being open. Where McCord is just a very, very accurate downfield, accurate all over the place. He's very more CJ Stroud in his skill set than more like JJ McCarthy.
Okay. Last question, because there are about 7 minutes left. Alex, are you trolling us when you say that Cade has a higher ceiling than JJ? I mean,
he is.
I'm not trolling. Listen, I said,
die on that hill, brother.
I said this 2 years ago, if you remember, when he got in the game against Wisconsin, and JoJo was in the game, and they benched JoJo, and that dude won the game and almost came back and won. And I was like, he needs to be starting tomorrow. Like, this is, I don't know what Harbaugh's doing, but like, he's got the wrong dude on the field. And I've ridden that ever since I saw him play, ever since I really watched him play that game. And I watched him grow and become better and better and better and better. So when I see where he started to winning a Big Ten championship, going to the college football playoff, beating Ohio State, all those things, and then he comes back the next year, and you really don't get, like, you can say like it was a battle, but like everybody knew the writing was kind of on the wall once JJ was a sophomore, which I think is just trash, in my opinion. So yes, I'm gonna die on the JJ. I'm gonna die on the Cade McNamara hill. I'm gonna die on it all day.
Die on it, brother. Die.
I'm gonna die on it. Listen, and I hope he balls next year for Iowa because the Big Ten West. We need somebody that's like worth something out there because the Big Ten West is there. It's kind of like I don't know. It's kind of like.
Well, no, just like the last 2 years. Iowa drew the short straw, and now Purdue draws the short straw, and they both get blown out. It is what it is.
Yeah, I'll say this, though. I mean, if Iowa, and this is a very big if they can manage to have a halfway decent offensive line with Cade and Eric all there and get like one or two decent receivers, Iowa's going to be a problem. Because if Iowa can score 20, like it's going to be very difficult for teams to score 20 on Iowa when they're putting up 20 points.
Yeah. Well, you know what they say about if.
If it was a fifth, we'd all be drunk.
We all be drunk.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay, guys, I'm going to wind this one down. Any other thoughts?
Nope.
Okay,
nope.
All right.
Like our chances against TCU. Yep. Let's go ahead and do it. Go blue. Let's eat some frog legs and get ready for Georgia. That's all I got to say.
Be careful what you wish for.
Alex, good luck against Georgia.
We're going to need it.
In their home state.
We're going to need it. That's a home game. Listen, I'll put it like this. If Ohio State beats Georgia in Atlanta, as Abdul Gaines would say, I'm going to be insufferable.
We all deserve a shot at the champ again if y'all get past Georgia. How about that?
That's true. That's true. All right, guys. I'm going to go ahead and wind this one down.
All right, brother. Thanks for inviting me up. Peace out. Go blue. Let's get Horn Frog.
All right, Mike.
All right.
Alex, Mike.
Have a good one.
All right, everyone. Let's end this with a few drops. How about Cade McNamara?
I mean, I'm a Big Ten championship winning starting quarterback, and that's how I see it.
And Joel Klatt regarding Ohio State's defense.
You've got to have a requisite defense. This offense, as good as it is, needs to have a requisite defense. And at least so far, it looks like Ohio State has that requisite defense.
How about Coach Harbaugh on this season's goals?
Let's see if we can get all 4 goals. Let's beat Michigan State and Ohio State in the same year. Let's win the Big Ten championship and let's win the national championship. Those are our 4 goals, and man, let's go attack them. And guys are on a daily basis.
One more. How about JJ racking up those yaks?
Those are 2 guys, along with numerous other guys on our receiving core, that just make me look good. And they just keep racking up those yaks like it's nothing, and there's a lot more to come from them too.
Having good drops is a part of any good sports show. I love the drops. You guys want to hear the triple? Coach Harbaugh and the Ryan Day triple? All right.
Sometimes people that are standing on third base think they hit a triple, but they didn't. All right, thanks.
Does anyone want a Jim Mora? I'm jumping to the NFL here, but how about a Jim Mora, maybe a Mike Ditka, and then I'll wrap up. I promise.
We couldn't make a first down. We couldn't run the ball. We didn't try to run the ball. We couldn't complete a pass. We sucked. The second half, we sucked. We couldn't stop the run. Every time they got the ball, they went down and got points.
All right, Coach Ditka.
Mike, why are you in such a bad mood?
What do you care?
All right, everyone. The game is on Saturday at 4 p.m. Michigan and TCU is the first game. That's the second seed versus the third seed. And then the nightcap, the game that's going to take us into 2023, Ohio State versus Georgia. That is going to be, I think, at 8 o'clock. So find a seat and make sure you're comfortable at 4 o'clock to see if we can advance to the national championship game. All right, guys. You guys know that I'm a writer. I'm not just a YouTuber. I just don't come on here and listen to Alex tell us why Cade should have been the starter this year, and I don't just come on here and for Abdul Gaines to troll us. I am a writer working on a sports-related book. I have a newsletter. It's in the description box. There's a 2-paragraph greeting there. There's a subscription button at the bottom. You just click that. This pretty field shows up, and you just enter your name, and you're a part of the list. I promise I will not give it away to a third party. Please consider joining the Big Words LLC Newsletter. Just like Steve Dace, sports is just a part of what I do, and it's just a part of what I am. But I have opinions and thoughts on so many other things like current events and science and automation and pandemics and all kinds of things. So this link is here, and I'm going to wrap this up. Please like, share, and subscribe. If you see fit, shout out to Bo Lytle as respect is earned. Okay, if you want to donate something to the channel, my Cash App and PayPal are below in the description box, but they are here as well. And you can also leave a super thanks if you see fit. All right, everyone, go blue. Look for something after the game, maybe not the night of New Year's Eve, but probably on New Year's Day. So look for something, whether we win or whether we lose, there's going to be some sort of reaction. Hopefully it's celebrating a win and then prepping for the national championship game. So everyone, enjoy the rest of your night. Stay safe out there, especially if you're in one of the Midwestern cities that was clobbered by the blizzard of the century. So go blue. And as always, remember that your attitude determines your altitude. Do your best and take care, everyone. Bye-bye.